Yes, it's that time again. It is that time. It is time for the Sports Porch, the black and gold edition all over the world, coming to you from the Bunker Studio in Monroeville outside of Pittsburgh. We are live right now on Facebook. We are live on Instagram. We are live on YouTube. We are live on the X, and we are live on, I said Instagram, right? Didn't I say Instagram?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You did. Yes, you did.
And of course, you can always catch the podcast right after the show. I drop it right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And as always, we are live right now on Radio PGH. I'm putting that stream down in the comments. If you don't want to watch us because, I don't know, I'm too ugly or Steve's too good looking. The lighting on you looks great, by the way, Steve.
Thank you.
It looks excellent. Good job.
I worked on it before.
Did you change the, you did. You made it a little warmer.
Yeah, I made
Looks
it a little
nice.
warmer. I
Looks
didn't
real
want
nice.
to blare it in my eyes.
Really appreciate it.
If I could see, I'd take my glasses off.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You know.
And Schwaber is with me. Anyway, you can listen live on Radio PGH right here at this stream I just dropped in the comments. That is our internet radio station. We have some exciting things always coming up on there. I am your technical director, Chris, or Calvin, as people call me. Across from me in the studio is the Grand Schwabini, now sitting in front of Jerome Bettis, holding up the Super Bowl trophy in the first parade that he only won one Super Bowl with us.
Only
anyway.
one.
And
Super Bowl 40.
to my left in studio is Hockey Jesus. Got the hat on backwards tonight, HJ.
Yeah, I didn't have a good shirt to wear tonight, so I figured I got to represent. So
There you go.
I threw on the hat.
There you go.
Hockey
Representing
Jesus.
as always. So what do we do? Well, we're going to talk black and gold sports. Of course, we're talking about the Steelers this week. And that's the first thing we're going to do. Then we're going to do our NFL predictions. We're going to have a little Hockey Jesus in the house and talk about the state of the Penguins.
Oh, boy.
We do have a Trader Joe's snack time, a special one coming up.
Special.
We have a little Yinzer trivia,
Ooh.
and then the Grand Schwabini and I have a little bit of what we are watching.
Mhm.
My unselfish watching has paid off.
Oh.
There it is. It's paid
Is it
off.
going to be
Alright.
a holiday snack by chance?
Did I say something to you at Trader Joe's the other day when you came down?
You did not.
Okay, then I'm not going to say yes or no to that. Anyway,
Mm.
Not even a hint.
catch the Sports Porch Podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. And, of course, subscribe to our channel on YouTube at the Sports Porch Podcast. Our subscriptions have been skyrocketing lately. We went from the low 40s to the mid 50s.
Oh, yeah.
So keep it, pump it up. Pump it up.
Pump up
Pump
the
up
volume.
your jam,
Yeah.
pump it up while your feet are stomping
Yeah.
and the beat is bumping.
All right.
We just lost
Yeah,
5
we lost
subscribers.
everybody.
Thanks,
sorry.
Mark.
I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Still winless in Philly. The good, the bad, the ugly. We all know the Steelers lost 27-13 in Philadelphia. They still haven't won there, feels like ever, which I think really is true.
Well, before we were born.
Since
Right.
Lyndon
It is
Johnson was
forever
president.
for
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, 14-20, 228 yards and a TD. We'll get into all of this. Right now, we're going to do good, bad, and ugly. Hockey Jesus, I'm going to start with you.
Ugh.
What was the good? I know this is a stretch, but what was the good?
Boy, this is a stretch. Because
I know.
I'll tell you, they got their asses handed to them. By the way, I almost had the score predicted perfectly.
You did 28-14.
Pretty good.
28-14.
You did.
I told you that this was going to be a letdown game.
Well, it helps to be a celestial being.
I'm
right?
just gonna say flat out, I think TJ Watt maybe played his best game of the year against probably the toughest offensive lineman he went up against.
Yes.
I know he got injured. Late in the game. Hopefully it won't keep him out too long. Really, we need him to play this week, but we don't need him to play this week injured. So
Right.
I'd rather him not play this week if he's that injured. But I think TJ Watt's play in particular on the defensive line and the fact that they held a so-called MVP in Saquon Barkley to 65 yards, I think is just phenomenal. It did come at a cost, however, but if I'm just purely looking at statistics and play of people, that's what I'm going with. TJ Watt and stopping Saquon Barkley.
Okay. Grant Schwabini, good.
I would agree. TJ Watt, Lane Johnson has gone times where he's gone like 3 years without giving up a sack.
Yeah.
So TJ Watt getting the best of him on a couple occasions. I thought it was his best game of the year as well. Caused a turnover with a punch out, the Peanut Tillman punch out.
Right.
And almost had a second one. Kind of amazing that Jalen Hurts held onto the ball
true.
there.
Yeah,
I agree
that's
with
true.
So he was an animal. He played really well.
Man, for me, it's that he was an animal. He played really well, but that's kind of like what's expected of him. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like we've come to expect TJ Watt to make an impact in the game, and he did have those plays, but it didn't really make an impact in the game.
I wouldn't say it's expected against Lane Johnson.
Well, no,
Yeah.
That's the Philly in you. I'm just saying we expect him to play like that just about every game. You know what I mean? So
we do, but he hasn't this year to that level against that caliber of
a team,
of an offensive lineman.
All right, I'm going to go with that's my good as well. I mean, you know how much I hate agreeing with you guys, but I couldn't find a whole lot of good outside of that. The defense holding Saquon Barkley to under 65 or under 100 yards.
Under 70 yards.
Yeah, 19 carries for 65 yards. Yeah, I guess that was good too, you know. So, yeah, there's much more of the other two categories. So,
Yeah.
So, sure. HJ, let's do your bad.
My bad. Well, it has to be the boneheaded plays that they made. The tackling was absolutely horrendous. The open field tackling, it was ridiculous. There were two plays by Gainwell, in particular on third down, where the tackling, if you make those tackles, they go off the field. Instead, in both of those series, they went on to score a touchdown. There was one run by Jalen Hurts up the middle where KZ just looked like an absolute idiot. That got him an additional 15 yards. They really, I mean, I want to say they're an elite defense, but when you see plays like that get you off the field and allows the offense to get onto the field, to me, that's bad. So I'm going to go with tackling in the open field as my bad.
Mike Lawrence agrees with you. He says a lot of people are blaming the offense, justifiably so, I guess. However, our secondary gave up 270 passing yards. What do you guys think? Defense did contain Barkley, and HJ tackling was awful. Grant Schwabini, bad?
Pathetic.
I'm going to say bad was the Steelers' pass defense.
Mm-hmm.
They gave up 200-yard receivers in that game.
Yeah.
Right.
They kind of got picked apart. I mean, it's true that, they were dealing with some injuries there. But at the same time, they had to know that, bringing a lot of guys in to stop Saquon Barkley, they were going to have to defend the pass better, and they just didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. My bad is, my bad is the passing game itself. You did not, how many screenplays did we see?
None.
Right. I mean,
yeah, I was surprised that they didn't do a screen pass
I mean,
they try what they think is a screen pass by throwing it out into the flat, and then all the linemen run over there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a true screen play.
Right.
Yeah. Pete Moore on Facebook. Thanks for being here, Pete. He says, you guys have anything to say about punches being thrown and no flags against the Eagles? Yes, but we're going to save that for after. Stick with us. We got to get through good, bad, and ugly. The lack of a game plan for the ferocity of the Steelers, of the Eagles pass rush is my bad. It didn't even look like we planned for that. I mean, first of all, your number one receiver is out. You've got Van Jefferson supposedly playing that role poorly, I might add. Where the hell was Mike Williams? We don't know. And you're not accounting for the fact that, the Steelers offensive line, it's serviceable and good at times, but also young, and has not faced a front seven like the Eagles' number one defense this year. So it didn't look like there was any planning for that at all. So that's my bad. Now we're going to move on to something even better, the ugly. HJ.
Yeah, there was.
Did we get to your bad?
Yeah,
I
I said the
forgot
pass
'cause of the comment.
defense.
The pass
He said
defense,
the
right.
pass defense.
Yeah, my fault.
And
Go
he's
ahead,
right.
ugly.
The pass defense was horrendous. I could even make that my ugly, but I'm not. I'm going to say the boneheaded penalties. And I get it that, there were some punches thrown and some flags didn't go our way, but let's face it. If Mount Washington stops blocking at the end of the end zone,
Yeah,
none of that shit happens.
that's true.
And what is he trying to do by throwing Slay into the stands? Like, he already made his point. He blew him off the line 25 yards.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Slay's not going to beat him.
It doesn't make any difference whether he does what he did. Now, I did see an angle where definitely Slay hit him in the head 2 times. And then, Calvin Austin III jumps in and he gets a penalty also, which all of that is true, is ridiculous. But if you're just thinking about the situation, you just got, 4 yards on first down. It's 2nd and goal from the 6. That is a whole lot easier to do than 2nd and goal from the 21.
Right.
That being said, the offense still could have scored a damn touchdown, but that didn't help. And at that time, that was right after the second turnover. And at that time, the offense was horrible. I mean, in its first 4 series, it had like negative 17 yards. So they didn't need that to set them back, and it did. So that cost them 4 points. The fumble by Najee cost them another 4 points potentially.
This is a lot of ugly here.
That's a lot. Yeah, I mean, will there be anything left for us?
Seriously.
No, there will not. And then the last is, I forget who it was, but the guy who ran over the center on the field goal. Now, that didn't end up costing us points because they still kicked the field goal. But think of the situation there. If you're getting blocked into the center, don't roll the center over. Just run back into the guard on the left-hand side instead. You can get flagged for that, and it's just dumb. It's sometimes the Steelers are not aware of the situation, and they don't care because they're trying to make a point, which is a dumb point. So that was completely ugly to me, and it actually cost them 8 points. It wouldn't have made a difference in the game. I don't think the Steelers were ever really in this game. They absolutely got blown out. Would it have helped if both guys got flags? Sure, of course it would have. But that's not what happened, and good teams look past that.
Schwaber, ugly.
Well, I was going to go with the blocking Slay into the bleachers. I was going to go with that, but since I think we covered that pretty well, I'll just go with
John Edberg, by the way, on YouTube says, and Jesus gave out ugly for all.
I guess, I'll go out with the fumble of Najee Harris.
Right.
Because that was the true turning point in the game.
Yeah.
And it was just a perfect pitch to him. I mean,
there was nothing wrong with the play.
It was right there.
Well, there was something wrong with the play.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just mean everything was executed properly.
Giving Najee Harris a pitch outside is just a dumb play.
Yeah.
Like, it's never worked all year. It's not ever going to work.
Right.
Why would you do it now?
Right.
Yeah, okay, he did fumble. But in fairness to Najee, it was his first fumble all year.
That's true.
You are right. It was still ugly.
And Jesus stole Schwabini's ugly.
No, I agree. I agree.
I mean, like,
he's right. It was ugly.
Yeah, it was ugly because, look, it was a perfect pitch to him, and it's not like there was any pressure on him either. Like, there was nobody around him. Yeah, and he just
kicked it after.
He took his eye off it, kicked it. Of course, when something like that happens, he kicks it right to Slay.
Yeah.
Like nobody else even had an opportunity for it.
Right.
Exactly. So it was just, and that was at a point in time where the game was within reach and they were driving. Yeah. So that was a huge turnover.
Yeah. My ugly is the not scoring more than 3 points off of 2 turnovers early in a game that you knew you were outmatched on. And that also includes, what it includes more of, though, honestly, is the lack of a game plan. And where was Jaylen Warren, and why was Najee essentially benched after that fumble?
Right.
That made no sense to me at all.
Yeah.
And I really think the ugliest part of this, honestly, we've been singing Arthur Smith's praises for most of this year. And I'm not saying that I'm going to change my mind on him. I think he was a great addition. But this one, I think they shit the bed on the game plan. There was no game plan. That is the ugly for me. And then when something is, something happens like happened to Najee, there was no plan for that.
Right.
So my real ugly is definitely the game plan. OC on Instagram, because I don't get the Instagram comments, I have to cut and paste and put them up here. He says, do you feel like the Steelers are a solid team, but against teams like Philly, Kansas City, Bills, Lions, you see they just aren't on that level. Philly handled them in all senses. What do you think about that?
It's hard to know whenever all your great players aren't playing. For example, if Pickens was in that game, I think it's a different type of game. Right. I really believe it does. He has the ability to make a big play, and that opens up the run. Without that ability to make a big play, nothing really gets opened up, and you saw what you saw. A bunch of Russell Wilson changing things at the line and trying to make things happen on the fly, when I don't think the offensive play calling from a scheming standpoint was very good. And let's face it, the Eagles' defense from a pass rush standpoint and from a cover standpoint is damn good. So that's, I think, what you're saying, OC, when you're saying, we don't have the ability to play at that level. I think we do when we have all of our weapons. Without all of our weapons, we absolutely do not.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Grant Schwabini? Don't you love how Steve still can't he still can't say the Eagles defense is the best in the NFL?
Well, I gave them two very high compliments.
He did. Well, I would kind of go in a different direction with it. I think this is a Omar Khan failure to have not addressed the second receiver position.
Yeah.
Look,
that's a good take.
And to be honest, I mean, look, we got excited about Mike Williams because his first catch was a game winner.
Right.
But it
feels like that was his only catch.
But he hasn't done anything since. He's had like four
total catches.
Right.
Four total catches in 5 weeks or something.
75 yards or something.
And all I'm hearing on the radio anyway by people who are talking to Steelers insiders is that he's not getting open. So, I mean, so the bottom line is, I think that the Jets were probably right to part ways with him. And, it's not like the move hurt the Steelers. It actually has helped in terms of winning that one game, but he's not the answer. So they really didn't go out and get a second receiver to plan for if a Pickens is hurt, then you have somebody else you can go to. They just really don't.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they thought that maybe Roman Wilson could be that guy, but he's never seen the field.
No, he hasn't seen the field.
So that's the problem.
Well, I think they were banking on Ayuk was going to come here.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen.
I think that was part of it.
Yeah.
Jeff agrees. Jeff, my buddy in New York, thanks for being here again. We need another wide receiver. Williams was a flop. Need to draft one in the first round. If there's one worthy of that. Marvin Hamilton is back in the house. Good evening, guys.
Hey, Marvin.
I do not think that the Steelers are on the level of Kansas City or Philadelphia. I don't think they have the right weapons. I was saying on our earlier show, on our Philly show, because and I know you were watching, I'm not 100% sold on George Pickens. I'm sorry. I haven't been since day one. Everybody knows that. I think George Pickens has great hands and he has great footwork. He has a ton of ability. No doubt about that. Probably one of the more talented receivers we've seen in a Steelers uniform for quite a while. I think his attitude at times sucks. I mean, these are things we already know. He's not a go-to guy. I don't see him as a go-to guy. He is a big splash play guy who's going to burn you for one on the outside. But I'm just not sold on him. So to think if he had been in the game, would it have been different? I think it would have been different from from a defensive standpoint for Philly, yes, they have to account for him. But seriously, after you've accounted for him, what else do they have? You look at Philly's offense, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts. Any one of those players at any time during any game can either make a big play or score a touchdown. They've got at least 4. And then you throw in Dallas Goedert, gets injured a lot. A guy like Gainwell, that Calcaterra isn't a bad second tight end. Now we're starting to talk about backups that are good. The Steelers just don't have that. They don't have somebody who you're like, this guy could score a touchdown at any time. They don't have somebody like that. Pickens is not that guy.
Yeah, he is.
Hold on. Unless I know. Unless they have what we've been talking about, a solid number 2 threat. And Freiermuth is not a solid number 2 threat. He's a tight end.
A positive, though, he did make a heck of a contested catch.
He did. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, it's not like, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they don't have all the pieces in place to be on the level of, say, the Eagles or the Lions on offense, not on defense, or Kansas City with Pat Mahomes, and I think, a lot of people are chiming in here. Marvin Hamilton, I agree. Williams isn't a good fit. John on YouTube, I don't think Khan works alone. It was front office, head coach failure. I would agree with you, Grant Schwabini, that this is a front office or Omar Khan failure, so to speak, because after it's clear to me from watching that game, at least, that when they're facing a good defense, the Steelers do not have a receiver if Pickens is in. Not in, excuse me. They don't have a receiver, and you have to have more than one. Are we done? Did I do my ugly? We did our ugly.
No, I need to chastise you.
You have more. Please do. I feel like the last few weeks we've been trying to pull his strings like crazy. I'm waiting for it.
We're just reporting what we're saying.
We're just being honest.
Well,
that's all. That's what this is about. Honesty.
Your honesty and your analysis is wrong in this case because George Pickens is a touchdown threat every time he's on the field. The problem that the Steelers have is they don't have enough weapons.
So we're kind of talking about the same thing.
Right.
And it's I think it's okay when Pickens is on the field that CA3 and Van Jefferson are good enough, but here's what they're missing and nobody's talking about. They don't have the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. They're not using it if they do.
Right.
And that's the one thing other teams utilize a lot of. Pacheco catches it out of the backfield. Everybody that has a good Barkley can catch it out of the backfield.
Yep.
And he's a threat to hit the home run when he does that.
Yep.
Detroit, that don't even get me started on Detroit's ability to score big.
Right.
So, and the difference with the Bills is, okay, so maybe they don't have a really good the offensive guy who can catch the ball, wide receiver, but they got the best MVP in the league in Josh Allen, who can make anybody better. And Russell Wilson does make other guys better, but he's not Josh Allen level. That's why we are on the sub tier, because of those lacking talents. Now we try and make up for it on defense with the splash plays, and unfortunately that hasn't really worked out that well this year. There have been times when we've won the turnover battle and we've lost the game, and that's not a recipe for success. So that's why I say Pickens is not the problem. More Pickens is the problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're actually talking about the same thing. I kind of said that I did say that Pickens is not a threat to score a touchdown every time he touches the ball, because there isn't anybody else. That was my whole point. He's not a go-to guy unless there's somebody else to worry about.
Well, you could say the same thing with A.J. Brown if Devonta Smith wasn't on the field.
I don't know. I think when he played for the Titans, he was pretty good, and they didn't have another receiver.
They weren't very good.
True.
Because they were always playing from behind.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, we can argue the semantics of this whole idea.
The bottom line is they need a receiver other than Pickens to help the passing game.
Yeah.
They need a receiver like Pickens to help the passing.
Marvin Hamilton. Why bring in Justin just to run? He didn't have any
And he got hurt on that one
he got
play.
hurt. Yeah.
I mean, stupid.
I want to go up here to Mike Lawrence's question because this is an interesting thing here. Why do you guys think Arthur Smith is obsessed with establishing the run? I'm going to take a stab at it first. It's about ball control. And it's about setting up for, play action pass, which leads directly to getting the ball into George Pickens' hands or a receiver. So he's obsessed with it because, personally, I think that's how you win football games.
Yeah, you have to try to establish the run. So you can't fault them for trying to do it.
Yeah,
I don't feel like they even tried to do that yesterday.
No, they knew pretty much they were getting manhandled from the very beginning.
You mentioned it early in the game.
Yeah.
The third play, we had a moon ball on the third play of the game, and you were like, "Game over, moon ball already."
Yeah. Well, and they're throwing to Van Jefferson too.
Right.
That's rarely going to be successful. So that's the problem. And the other way you can establish the run too is by loosening up the secondary and the linebackers by throwing the moon ball. The Steelers seem to do the opposite approach, which is let's run it for 6 or 7 and then throw the moon ball, and then we've got them way off balance. And that does actually seem to work for them. It just didn't yesterday because Philly's front defensive line just manhandled our offensive line.
Right.
We couldn't establish a running game, and then we became one-dimensional and weren't very good at all on third downs, which is something that Russell Wilson had been very good at. So they beat us at our own game, and we just have to take it.
Yeah, and as John points out on YouTube, Boswell breaking the team field goal season record is an indicator the lack of red zone efficiency hurts them. Yeah, you're not going to beat teams like the Eagles with field goals. You're also not going to beat them when you get lucky and you force 2 turnovers in the beginning of the game and you don't turn it into at least 10 points. 3 points is horrible.
Well, that being said, that this game against the Eagles means nothing. This game against the Ravens means everything.
That's exactly right. So that's what we're going to do right now. And if you already haven't done,
can I make a comment on that?
Please do.
I don't see what you're saying about that is true in terms of if the Steelers win this game, all is good in the world. They win the division.
They win the division no matter what.
But if they beat the Eagles, this game wouldn't mean everything because they'd only have to win a couple games to win.
No, because they would still have to beat Kansas City.
Would they?
Yeah.
But that's assuming that Baltimore wins out.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
So I don't know. I always think every win matters.
Every win does matter, but some wins mean more than others, and that's what this Saturday means.
Well, see, for me, playing the which win means more game, I don't buy. I mean, I get it. I totally get it, but I've never bought into it. I think every win matters. That's just, if you're thinking, and this goes directly to that point when they asked Tomlin after the game, when he said, it's a loss, let's not get dramatic.
Right.
That mentality to me was kind of like, you guys weren't even thinking about this game anyway. You guys, and the game plan reflected it.
I told you.
Yeah. And if that's the case, though, that's not good.
That's not how you win playoff games.
Good.
He's got 3 playoff wins in the last 13 years, none in the last 7. I mean, look, and I've been watching Hard Knocks, and he's definitely the best communicating coach of those 3 of the 4. I'm sorry.
Was there any? I didn't watch this last week. Was there any highlights out of it?
No, not really. No, okay. They really only did the Steelers Cincinnati game. Really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, I think this is. It's really hard because you realize like the Monday night game, then you got all your film guys and your editing guys. They're probably pulling a 48-hour shift to try to get this shit together to get it ready. I don't know how they can pull it off and make it meaningful in any way, shape, or form. Plus, on top of that, the teams are it's obvious that like Tomlin is not letting them in very far.
Right.
You know, he's basically giving it the whole, like, you're going to get my best moments and that's it.
Right.
You know? So, I mean, it's a hard watch. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be. But anyway, I don't like it. I don't like the fact that they were looking ahead to this game. But
you'll like it if they win.
As they were saying, I was going to tell everybody to subscribe at the Sports Porch Podcast on YouTube when you chimed in there and wanted to make a conversation out of this. What do the Steelers need to do to beat the Ravens?
Well, that's simple. All you have to do is stop Lamar Jackson, which they've in the past been able to do. However, I think Baltimore is in a much better spot than they had been when the Steelers met them previously. I think they're rolling.
Oh yeah,
pretty good. And
well, their pass defense has really tightened up.
Yeah, but the Steelers really didn't exploit their lack of pass defense the last time they played. These two guys wanted to slug it out. And that's what you have to do is make Baltimore feel like they got to slug it out with you.
Right.
Because I think if Baltimore decided just to start chucking it deep, I think the Steelers could be in trouble. And that could be a problem. So let's see if they can first stop Lamar from running and then second stop the deep pass. And let's get into a slugfest with them. I think we win that battle.
Yeah, Marvin Hamilton says, I think we can. KC offense isn't that good, and neither is their defense. He's talking about win out.
Yeah.
Every win does matter. Thank you, Marvin. I appreciate that.
Might be true about that, Marvin, because Kansas City may not have much to play for.
They might have no Mahomes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well,
they might want to rest him.
Right, yeah, that's true.
High ankle sprain, but he's played with a high ankle sprain before.
He sure has. Yeah, and he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it didn't seem like anything was wrong either.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the right juice that they can't find.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Somehow they can't detect the juice he's taking it.
I think
there's no testing on those days.
I think all they have to do to beat the Ravens is do exactly what they did the last time, and that is trot Boswell out there 6 times. He's the Raven killer. No, I mean, I think this is a matchup that plays well for both teams. It's in Baltimore, so it favors the Ravens.
It does.
The Ravens, like Tomlin likes to say, both teams know each other really well. And they have to contain Lamar Jackson. One of these days, Lamar Jackson is going to break the curse that is playing the Steelers for him, and he's going to play like Lamar Jackson. It's like he had 5 touchdown passes this week, and he ran for 66 yards. That's Lamar Jackson. But when he plays against the Steelers, he plays like
against the Giants.
Yeah, well, of course, it's a bad team. But what I'm saying though is that's closer to the the MVP caliber Lamar Jackson
for sure.
When he plays against the Steelers, he plays like Kenny Pickett. It's like it's almost as if the aura of the Pittsburgh Steelers being in the area kind of it limits his abilities. One of these games that's going to change. Is it this game? I don't know. So I think it's the obvious. You have to keep Derrick Henry from running, and you have to keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket because he's not as good a passer in the pocket as he is out of the pocket. And we have to score some frickin' points. We're not going to, what I said earlier is not going to happen. This game, we're not going to trot Boswell out there 6 times, score 18 points, and win the game. This game's going to be decided by touchdowns, and we need to score some. Schwaber?
Well, it's I'm kind of at the point where, for the past 2 years, I've felt like the Ravens were a better team than the Steelers, and yet they always find a way to look like slop against the Steelers.
They do. Yeah. I know.
They really do. So I almost kind of feel like until it's proven to me otherwise, I'm actually favoring the Steelers in this game. I also think, the Steelers, the loss to the Eagles also kind of serves as a wake-up call, which is kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, the Lamar Jacksons are coming off the high of dominating a horrible football team.
Right.
And they're probably full of themselves and thinking this is the time that we take it to the Steelers.
Yeah.
And my guess is that they'll find a way not to. I mean, and you know what? I will tell you too. I really was surprised. Now, granted, it was just one episode that I watched of the Hard Knocks. I was shockingly surprised. I was just not really that impressed with John Harbaugh as a coach.
Yeah.
And I don't really see him motivating his team quite the way that Tomlin does. And I think that does matter.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
So,
in divisional games, I think it really does make a difference.
yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Steelers come away with the win. I think it'll be close. It'd be a field goal one way or the other.
Oh no, Tucker gonna miss a 60-yarder.
Tucker's definitely going to miss a field goal.
Yeah, he did for us all year long.
And Boswell's going to make all his.
Yeah.
The only concern I have is playing without Pickens. That's the concern I have. They have to find a way to create some more offense. I think it can be done in the screen game. I think it can be done by using Freiermuth more, but I think Arthur Smith needs to get a little more creative.
Yeah, I agree. Any parting shots there, HJ?
Nope. I just think that Steelers got to get out and get the win. If they don't, they still can actually still win the division, but it requires Baltimore losing a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they probably will, though.
Well, they play against the Texans right before or right after the Steelers play on Christmas Day. So
And the Texans are starting to play good ball.
Yeah, and they have a short week, and they're playing in Houston. So maybe we'll see.
Yeah, I can see
it's possible.
This is
so
a Saturday.
it's not over if the Steelers do lose.
Mm-mm.
Now this is the gauntlet we were talking about.
Oh, by the way, the Steelers are in the playoffs, so I think we forgot to mention.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, yeah,
Which is exciting.
They are, and they pretty much have a stranglehold on like the 5th seed. So
Right.
even the 5th seed means you go down to Houston to play, which isn't the end of the world.
No.
Right.
So I mean, the playoff scenarios right now look good for the Steelers, no matter what. But one, we need to get Pickens healthy. Two, let's just beat the frickin' rat birds.
Yeah.
And let's just roll into the playoffs as the 3rd seed.
Now, could this be scripted any better? A Steelers playoff game in Houston with TJ Watt and JJ Watt's former team.
I like the Steelers in that game.
That
I like
does
the
sound
Steelers
like
in
an
that game.
NFL script.
That's what I'm saying.
It does.
That
sounds like an NFL script.
Mhm.
Let's see if that happens. Somebody will remind us.
I mean,
if
there's
we
a
talk about
scenario
that.
too where the Steelers could play against the Ravens.
Yeah, yeah, there is.
So
But,
I mean,
Yeah, I know. That would be something.
yeah. So they're in the playoffs. That's great. But let's win the division. We'll see. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of what I've seen in the running game so far, and I at least we have something to live for after the regular season is over this year.
Yeah.
well, we did last year, but did we really?
Yeah. No.
Look, overall, it's been a good season, and they definitely have the ability to do some damage in the playoffs, whereas last year they didn't.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. All right, you're watching the Sports Porch Podcast, the Black and Gold edition. If you're watching us live all over the world, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and Instagram. And of course, we drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And you can subscribe to us on YouTube. We're live there right now at the Sports Porch Podcast. Go over there, click the subscribe button, the notifications button. You'll know when we go live. I don't know. I'm smelling
Is that food hot over there?
The food is hot, so I'm thinking maybe we need to. You guys are hungry. I know you're hungry.
Are those
I know,
crab cakes?
We
I know-
need to taste the biscuit.
my wife is allergic to shellfish, so she wouldn't be delivering crab
Potato
cakes.
pancakes?
But maybe.
Potato latte?
Yeah, it seems like
Latkes?
it's that.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce.
Let's go.
Don't get that honey
Get that
sauce
on me.
I don't
I don't like the way it
tastes
tastes with my chicken wings.
Oh yeah, that is the music, and that does mean one thing and one thing only. It is Trader Joe's snack time. Everybody knows, if you watch the show, that I work at Trader Joe's down in East Liberty. I love working there. It's a great store, great place to work. They're not paying us for this, so it's not a paid sponsorship, but we did get permission to do it. Trader Joe's Snack Time. What do? I bring home a product every week. We sample it, give you our honest opinion. This week, in honor of our friend here, Hanukkah is coming up on December 25th at sundown, lasting through January 2nd.
Yes.
We are having what Trader Joe's calls traditional latkes or
Potato pancakes.
Yes. Now,
Good stuff.
I have never had these.
Never in your life?
Never had a latke?
I've never had a latke in my life.
Oh,
They smell delicious.
You're missing out.
Okay,
you are
yeah.
missing out on that.
They smell delicious, and there's a little sour cream up here.
Ooh,
That's the way I like it.
I
No,
was-
not the applesauce.
that's my kind of party now.
I was told,
You like it with the applesauce?
No, I like it with sour cream
Sour
or even
cream.
just plain.
yeah.
Plain.
I was told these are really good, and they were done in the air fryer. I have to give a shout out to my lovely wife, the Pittsburgh Property Diva.
There
What
she
up,
is.
Diva?
She cooked them up for us. You can find her at pittsburghpropertydiva.com. Thank you, Darlene. Here you go. Schwaber. I don't have separate plates.
That's okay.
I do have napkins which nobody around here seems to want to ever use anyway. But yeah, use your fingers, whatever you want. I'm surprised I didn't get a comment in there.
Very good.
Use your fingers. Fingers in
Don't forget, use your fingers.
All right.
All right.
This is what it looks like, people. It looks like a fried potato.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with some sour cream.
Just talking.
Mm-hmm.
I love when we hear Schwaber chew.
Oh, yeah. The Schwaber chew is a sign of approval. That's for sure.
Now, oh wow, these are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
These are delicious.
My people know food.
They do.
They know how to make a latke. I can tell you
They
that.
sure as hell know potato pancakes.
Looks like we have an interested bystander.
Looks like Sassy wants them.
Sassy.
Get down, girl. All right, so that's going to be a thumbs up for the traditional pancake.
Thumbs up.
All right, there they are. Go
Well
down to
done
Trader
in the
Joe's,
air
get some
fryer.
for this season, and that is our Trader Joe's snack time. We play this music again because we like it and we need to have time to eat more.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Take us out.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
Woo!
Taste the honey sauce.
Honey
Taste
sauce.
the goodness of the biscuit
The
with the
biscuit
honey
and the honey
sauce.
sauce. I'm good.
Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
Okay, there you have it. Trader Joe's snack time. Thank you very much. This is the Sports Porch Podcast, Black and Gold Edition, live all over the world every Monday evening at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And subscribe to the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts if you want to catch up with us. Next up is our NFL predictions.
Oh, yeah.
And so what we do is we usually do the Thursday night game, the Sunday night game, and a Sunday game. But we decided that
It's
we're going to
getting
do
weird out there.
Yeah, it is getting weird. We're going to do 2 Sunday games this week, Sunday day games and the Thursday night game.
I'm taking Penn State over SMU.
But last week, Mark was 3-0.
Let's go,
What's
Schwaber.
new? What's new?
Steve was 1-2.
What?
And yeah, and
I took the Rams.
no, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't.
I took the
I'm
Rams.
telling you right now, dude.
Because I said, I don't know why I'm taking the Rams. I'm not giving any I'm taking the Rams.
Dude, I'm just
You're
telling
wrong.
you right now, Steve, Chris, 49ers.
I'm going to
Listen,
play back the tape.
This
and
is the
this is under dispute.
This is how we do this is how we do
This-
it legally.
This is under.
All right. Well, listen, I was 0-3, so
Under
it really
review.
doesn't matter. I was 0-3. So Mark is 28-14. Steve is 22-20. Chris is 18-24. Your pick in the comments. The Thursday night game this week: Broncos at Chargers. Go ahead. We're going to let Shea go.
No,
because,
no,
he wants to
no.
follow protocol.
Mr. 3-0.
Mhm.
Yeah. Even if I was wrong, he still won. So
I'm going to take the Chargers. I feel like the Broncos are having a nice season. Bo Nix is proving to be an adequate, decent, above average quarterback, but
he really has.
on the road against the Chargers team, didn't they lose pretty
Yeah,
badly?
they lost this week. Like
40-19 or
it
something.
was bad.
Yeah, so Chargers.
Yeah, to, Tampa Bay.
Chargers coming off.
Baker put it on them.
Chargers coming off a loss like that. I'm going to take them to bounce back.
I agree with the great Grand Schwabini, the Chargers in a bounce back game.
Steve is taking the Chargers. Yeah, the Chargers have to win this.
They don't have to win it.
Well, I mean, they kind of do. I'm going with the Chargers as well. Okay, we're going to do the Sunday game one. This is a big game. Eagles at Commanders. What you got there, Grant Schwabini?
Well, it's kind of hard to pick against the Eagles right now since they've won 10 in a row. Question is, can they win? I feel pretty confident they can beat Dallas and the Giants at home. Can they win 13 straight? That's kind of crazy. I'm going to say they're going to have to stumble at some point. I will take the Commanders.
Oh, boy.
I was going to take the Commanders, but now I'm going to take the Eagles.
Steve's trying to catch up.
Just trying to get back in the mix.
It's hard to catch up when you give me the wrong picks.
Right.
That's what I wrote down. I can't go back and remember it.
Don't worry, they have this thing called YouTube.
I know.
All I have to do is go back and review.
If you're willing to take the time to do that, I will correct.
I know exactly where it is. It's at the 46-minute mark.
Okay.
I will go look it up. Somebody can look it up for me right now.
Yeah, go back to last week's show. Right. Yeah, this is a tough one. The Commanders are playing for their playoff lives. And on the Philadelphia show, I said the way the Eagles win is just keep it out of Jaden Daniels' hands. And if I'm in the Commanders booth, I'm trying to keep the ball in Jaden Daniels' hands. So, man, I have no faith in the Commanders. I haven't had faith in them since Daniel Snyder bought the Redskins. I'm going with the Eagles on this. Okay, we got some comments. Let's see if we have some other picks in.
Mike's taking the Commanders in a close one
by less than a touchdown. That's right. So, okay, game two. Now we did this on purpose because this is the loser bowl.
This is a great game.
The Jaguars at the Raiders. By the way, the Raiders, the pregame
tonight. The
pregame is on Behind Hockey Jesus right now, and I saw a stat. The Raiders are 5-0 on their last 5 Monday Night Football home games.
Really?
Yeah. So, useless information. But
so this is the 2-11 versus the 3-11 bowl.
Right.
The 11-loss bowl.
Jaguars at Raiders. Grant Schwabini?
I don't know. I think at this point you just go with maybe coaching. So I'll take Dougie P and the Jags to save a little face against the Raiders.
I love that Brian Thomas. He's such a great talent for the Jaguars. And I can't name a single Raiders receiver. Well, Jacoby Myers. But I'm going to take the rookie over Myers. Jaguars.
All right, I'm going to take the Raiders just so somebody takes the Raiders. How about that?
Sure.
Does that work?
I mean your season's over.
Yeah.
So
it was over 6 weeks ago.
Right. You're like these teams.
All right. So, yeah, I am bad. So there are our predictions. Broncos at Chargers. We all take the Chargers. Eagles at Commanders. Steve and I take the Eagles. And Jags at Raiders. I take the Raiders. These guys, these Jablonkies, they take the Jaguars.
We're the Jags.
There you go. Subscribe to our YouTube channel
in football.
At the Sport. They do. Yeah, we have to do that again.
They'll look good in London.
Right.
We did that last year.
Right.
We did that last year for our holiday special. Remember?
I remember.
Worst uniforms. I wonder if we could do that again. That would still be fun.
You won't be here this holiday season.
No, you won't.
Well, I'll be here in spirit.
You'll be basking in the sun.
All right. It's time for Stump the Yinzer. What is Stump the Yinzer? Well, we ask our resident Yinzer who has pierogies in his DNA, Hockey Jesus, a question, and we also ask the Grand Schwabini a question. Whoever gets it right becomes Yinzer for the week. Just a fun little trivia thing. I'm going to go to baseball.
Oh, brother.
Which player shared the 1979 MVP award, National League MVP award, with Willie Stargell? Who shared that award with him?
1979?
Yeah.
1979.
Yeah, they gave out they gave a dual award out in the National League that year.
Okay.
God, I don't know why. I mean, why would you ever do that?
Well, why not?
I guess. I don't think it's ever been done since.
Oh, God.
Well, let's just say they highlighted this guy on a Seinfeld episode.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Keith Hernandez.
Well, I know that is the guy in the Seinfeld episode, but
you can guess the same thing.
I don't know. I don't know if that guy is actually was ever good enough to be an MVP though.
I wouldn't have said his name. I was thinking
I'll go
Andre Dawson.
Yeah, I'll go.
Was he playing in '79?
Sure, he was.
Yeah, probably.
How about Dale Murphy?
Dale Murphy's a good guess too.
Mike Lawrence, Raiders win this. Jags usually find a way to lose. Thanks, Mike. Who'd you say? Dale Murphy?
Yeah.
Dale Murphy. It was Keith Hernandez.
Keith Hernandez.
Keith Hernandez.
That's crazy that he actually.
Thanks for the Seinfeld.
Yeah, sorry. I could tell that there was no comprehension. And that's our Pirates news for the day.
I was thinking maybe Darryl Strawberry, but he didn't come around till.
By the way, though, that was kind of a dumb thing. It wasn't really a Yinzer question. It was a New York question.
No, it was also a Yinzer question.
You should have said Keith Hernandez.
Oh, okay.
Won the award with which Pittsburgh Pirate?
Okay.
Yeah, and then you'd have to choose from
between
Stargell
and Parker.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
excellent point. Well, hey, look, for next week's show, you guys will be setting it up. I'm going to be sitting on a beach in the Bahamas. So go to town and do it right.
Now, we'll just skip that episode.
Yeah, we'll skip that.
Nobody likes that part of the show.
Oh, come on, guys. Jesus.
Everybody just goes,
the work I put into this show, and
they're waiting for the hockey G.
The investment I've made, and
they are waiting for Hockey Jesus because tis the season.
Absolutely.
La, 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 la.
All right.
Holy night.
To my left here in the studio is Hockey Jesus, who you can also follow on our YouTube channel at the Sports Porch Podcast. Hockey Jesus preaches after every single Penguins game. And he tells you like it is, and he's looking for disciples. So follow him on the podcast or on YouTube. HJ, what is going on with the Penguins now?
Well,
they had a 6 goal period the other night.
Yeah.
Whoa, the 9-goal game.
Yeah,
a
crazy
9-goal game. But let's go back a little bit. They lost to the Avalanche before that at home. And really not a very good game for the Pittsburgh Penguins. But they did turn it around by scoring, like you said, 6 goals in the third period. Right. Including Achari and Nieto also scoring in the third period for a 9-2 win in Montreal. Montreal is a terrible team. So if you're not scoring 9 goals against them, you're probably never going to score 9 goals. They're just not a good team. And then they followed it up with actually a pretty well played game in Ottawa. And they just couldn't they got a loser point. So, they got 3 points out of 6. That's where they are now, unfortunately. 3 points out of 6, 4 points out of 8. It's just they're in that gray area. The good thing is after they play the Kings and Nashville also is the worst team in the league. The Kings are in second place in the Pacific, so they're playing some pretty good hockey. So I think the game against the Kings is the one to watch. They play away in Nashville, and it's an 8:00 game, so it must mean it's on TNT or something like that, maybe ESPN Plus. But after that, then they start playing in the Metro. They play the Devils, they play the Flyers, they play the Islanders twice back to back, and they play Detroit. And Detroit and the Islanders and the Flyers are all bunched up together with the Penguins. So these are the games that are going to make or break. They're either going to keep them in it or they're going to fall out of it. Because if they go 50-50 with these games, nothing's going to change. If they somehow can put together a winning streak against these teams, I'm not suspecting they'll beat the Devils on Saturday. But if they can beat the Flyers at home, they got 4 games off until they play a back-to-back on the island. Those will be big games. And then the December 31st game, also known as the Mario Lemieux Tribute 5-goal game. Those would be big games. If they could put a 4-game win streak together against the Flyers, the Islanders, and Detroit, they could start to separate them from those teams. That's exactly what they're going to have to do if they want to remain relevant. The East is a mess.
Will they do it?
Will they do it? The way they've been playing lately, I think they have the ability to do it. But a game against, say, Philadelphia will come down to goaltending. So who's the hotter goalie that game? I don't think the Islanders are good at all. And Detroit is the same way. I think they can easily beat those teams. So I think it's good to get off the right foot by beating Philadelphia Monday night.
So OC on Instagram has this question for you, HJ.
Yeah. Where do the Pens rank in terms of team speed? No, they're near the bottom. If you ask them, they'll say they're near the top, but they're clearly near the bottom. Teams like actually Ottawa is a pretty speedy team, but Florida still is a very fast team. Washington, surprisingly, who's tops in the East, has gotten real fast in a hurry. But New Jersey Devils, I would say, probably are at the very top with Jesper Bratt and Hughes. Those guys can skate back and forth. They can lap circles around Gino and the boys. So that's part of the problem with the Penguins. And the way they've been playing lately, they've not been trying to play. They've been playing less of a speed game and more of a let's jam up the neutral zone. And that's actually part of the reason why they've become this in the mushy middle, where I'd say, they're around 70. They're trending to 79, 82 points, which keeps you in it for so long. But at some point when you're doing that, winning one, losing one, winning one, losing one, you have to go on like a 3 or 4 or 5 game win streak and not ever have a losing streak, because if you have a losing streak and you're back down at the bottom with the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Montreal Canadiens and the like.
All right, so what do we got coming up here? The game versus the Kings, is that tomorrow night?
The Kings tomorrow night.
Right.
That's right. Then on the road against Nashville Thursday, and so it's a mini road trip, just like they had last week, a mini road trip to Nashville and then over to New Jersey. I guess hopefully they won't get taken away by any drones over in New Jersey.
Yeah, what is up with that? Look, they're military drones. Everybody knows it, and there's some kind of secret.
Are they ours or are they other?
They're ours.
You think so?
Yes.
Of course.
100%.
Really?
Yes.
Why wouldn't you just say they're ours?
Well, I did just say they're ours.
I'm saying like the government.
I'm making an announcement right now. All those drones
All
over
those drones in New Jersey,
they're ours.
Well, did you know that there was one Chinese person who was arrested for having flown a drone over a military base?
Well,
okay.
Wow. So
they would arrest me if I flew a drone over a military base.
Are you telling me that Chinese people fly drones?
No,
it can't be true.
I think he's a dual Chinese and American citizen, and he was flying back to China, and they stopped him.
Okay.
And then what happened?
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It sounds like a Netflix special.
This is where I'm in this with you. If you want to go conspiracy theory.
Okay.
I feel like there's going to be like an attack, an Iranian attack from drones.
Yeah.
Drones.
I don't think so at all.
And all the housewives in New Jersey are going to die.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Drop the Quran on us?
I don't know, but this is a sports show. Let's move on. Grant Schwabini, can you explain to us what we are watching really means?
What it means is we feel your pain. We understand that it's difficult to make choices, to make decisions. What are you going to watch? You're going to watch this? You're going to watch that? You're going to watch what's new on Netflix or what's new on Hulu or what's new on Prime or what's new on HBO or what's new on Apple Plus or what's new on Freebie or what's new on Doobie or what's new on Poobie or
Freebie?
I think I'm making stuff up now. You get the idea. We're going to tell you so you don't have to go through all this decision-making chaos and mayhem. We're going to tell you what's good and what's not good. And here we go.
There you go. Chaos and mayhem. Mm-hmm. All right. The only qualification you have here is that you have to have either finished the season of the show you're watching, or if it's a documentary, you have to finish the whole documentary or movie, the whole movie.
You betcha.
The Grand Schwabini this week finished up this
Somewhere in
Gem.
Queens.
is that Ray Romano?
It's Ray Romano.
Oh,
Who's
interesting.
Chickies with.
Yeah. I don't remember her name.
That would be Laurie Metcalf.
The other, yes, it would be.
Lori Mac.
I'm just guessing, but
Yeah.
you know.
The other star in this is Sebastian Maniscalco.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw his
Is
show
also
down
in
at
this.
PPG Paints
Yeah, you like him, don't you?
down there. Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah. So this was actually like a nice little hidden gem. It was like, 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, by the way, I have Hulu now, so I can
All
watch
right.
Ooh,
Oh, here you go.
congratulations. Yeah.
Don't forget to watch that Nicole Kidman, The 9 Perfect Strangers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's on my
Yeah,
list.
yeah,
That's a Christmas special.
Anything with
Ooh.
Nicole Kidman. in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this
worth
was
watching.
actually like a really good story. It was just basically kind of like about Ray Romano kind of is, middle-aged and feeling like he hasn't done much with his life. He's got a son who is able to play Division I basketball. But he's also been kind of socially awkward in life. And Ray Romano is kind of trying to live through his son while his son is sort of trying to find his way through the world. The one thing that you guys will definitely think is funny is that the school that he gets offered a basketball scholarship to is Drexel University.
Nice.
So they actually are on Drexel's campus,
Oh,
and
crazy.
they show the court and everything. But it was good. I mean, kind of funny, kind of good little drama, like 2 hours well spent, one for the wife. Wife will certainly enjoy it.
Oh, it's a
with you.
movie.
It's
It's
a
a
movie,
movie.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I just want to know if Ray Romano is capable of playing anything other than a sad sack.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, I felt this was kind of like his coming out party as like a serious actor.
Well, he did that series a couple years ago. Do you remember? It was called Men of a Certain Age.
Mhm.
You remember that? It was on
I
like
do.
TNT.
I
or
didn't
something.
watch it though.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then it got canceled, because not enough people watched it,
Yeah.
I guess. But I thought it was pretty good. But then he did a couple other things, and I'm just like, it always just seems like it's a different version of Everybody Loves Raymond. You know what I mean? Like it's the same sad sack character. Like, woe's me.
Well, he's good.
My life is
He's
kind
good
of
he's
average.
He's good at that.
Yeah. And he's
Yeah.
also worth hundreds of millions of dollars
Right.
at the same time. So he can't be
Exactly.
that sad.
Right.
And that's
Exactly.
sack. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, the Grand Swabini, Something in Queens on Hulu, a little Drexel connection for us there.
Mhm.
Got a couple comments here. I want to get to them really quick. Streaming is total chaos. Thank goodness for bourbon and Coke or ginger ale.
Okay.
I obviously meant
I
bourbon.
thought I
and
was going to
Coke.
say thank goodness for the Grand Schwabini.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I mean, that's or just thank goodness for Coke.
it went a different way.
I was waiting for that.
Okay, I have exercised my unselfish watching self.
Here we
which
go.
does
Let's see.
exist. And my wife and I together finished the first season of
The Lioness.
Yes,
Oh, what'd you
Lioness.
think? Did you like it?
I really did like it. For those of you who weren't listening or watching before, Schwaber but did this on his What Are We Watching? Lioness is about, it's on Paramount Plus or Showtime. It's about a CIA program where they take women and they're Marine trained women, and they, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for
That's okay. You've said a lot
where they
worse.
try to plant a secret agent who is female
There you
next to a terrorist asset or a terrorist that they want to kill.
Right.
And they're the lioness. So I finished season 1. Nicole Kidman is, at one point I looked at my wife and I said, when does Nicole Kidman ever not play like the richest person? in the
Right,
show?
right,
I mean,
right.
it's because
Right.
it's where she lives,
Right.
basically.
Right.
But I like it. Zoe Saldana is in it.
Yeah, she's good.
She's pretty good. I don't like her husband in it.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, dude, you're like an oncologist,
Right.
with like, and you like want to crawl in a corner and die.
Well, it's kind of like this is the life you signed up for. Suck
Right.
it up.
Yeah, like a guy like the only
Right.
oncologist I ever met face to face was a guy I helped with some home financing years ago,
Mhm.
and he made a ton of money.
Right.
He looked like Joe Rogan, and he had like a garage full of Harley Davidsons.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, it's kind of like he's looked death straight in the eye, and he's like, "Screw you, I'm buying a motorcycle."
Right.
You know, this guy is kind of like, "I feel so bad for everybody. I feel so bad for our marriage. I feel so bad. Looks like you're in the thick of it." You know, like kind of stuff. Like, you know, so I didn't appreciate his character. I think his character.
He gets pretty angry in season 2.
Okay, fine. That's cool. Because we are going to go on and watch season 2. So I thought it was good. I had to stop myself. Sometimes I find myself in shows like this going, how much bad shit can happen at one time? I mean, that's just not. And then I just have to stop myself and say they're compressing it,
right? And
just go back to just watching it. And I thought it was really good, especially the end. Especially the end.
Yeah,
you know,
I like that. What's his name? Mike Kelly, who plays the deputy director. I think that's his name.
Oh yeah, he's in House of Cards.
Yeah, and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman. He's great. Actually, he has some great one-liners in there. I love when he's like, "You're full of shit," and you know it. Like, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of cool, the backroom dealing that they're talking about.
Exactly.
Like they're like
a Nicole Kidman's husband.
Yeah, like somehow he's involved, and
he's like.
Yeah,
he's trying to like trade after hours based on what his wife's saying.
But he's got another reason for it. That, you know, it's the backroom dealing where they're like, well, if you didn't want him dead, you shouldn't have put him on the kill list. Right. It's kind of like once you put him on the kill list, we're going to kill him, even if you change your mind.
Right.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good show. I do recommend it. Lioness on Paramount Plus. What we are watching. And boys, I think that wraps it up. You know, we got the Ravens on Saturday night. Of course, HJ is going to have a couple shows this week. And next week, hopefully you guys will be able to set this all up on your own, because I'm not going to help you no matter what. You watch me struggle for so long. It's kind of like, you know, you're going to come in and finish the game, right?
No, we're just going to set it up and do it. Okay, we're not going to complain.
We'll just do it better.
All right. All right. Thanks, Mike. You have a great Christmas as well.
Same to you, Mike.
You've been watching the Sports Porch, the Black and Gold edition, all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and Instagram. And yes, I am going to drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And we would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to that, or subscribe to our channel at the Sports Porch Podcast on YouTube. For the Grand Swabini, happy Hanukkah. For the Hockey Jesus,
little baby Jesus,
I'm happy Kwanzaa.
I'm your technical director, and I am out. Jablonsk.